So today is August 9th. I'm still in the Venice Inn, and today is a big day. It is the day my wife comes to pick me up, and finally get to start the trip back home. I can't wait. She should be here any minute. It's about 4 hours from Jackson, Mississippi, where she stayed last night, so we just anxiously awaiting her arrival. We're gonna stay here tonight, and then we get out of Venice tomorrow, and we're gonna start our trip back up north. So I'm looking forward to that, and we'll tour along the way. So it's gonna be neat.
My wife arrives. She drove down from our home in southern Minnesota all the way down to Venice. In 20 hours, she drove what took me 45 days to paddle. After one more night of rest, I finally get to leave the Venice Inn. Bubby and Whitney were kind enough to store my kayak for me while I was at the inn, so we meet up with them. I get to show my wife the massive ocean liners I have been sharing the river with. We hit the road and get our last look at the Gulf Coast. Our plan is to follow the river back home and tour along the way. On our way to New Orleans, we pass over the river. Memories of the journey are still fresh in my mind. First up on the tour is the New Orleans Zoo. We don't stay long due to the hot summer heat. I had been told to visit the World War II Museum by many people, so it ranked high on my list of stops on the way home, and it didn't disappoint. We leave the museum in the hot summer heat and head for Baton Rouge, about an hour and a half away. We get to drive along Lake Pontchartrain, an incredible sight. Grab a hotel once in town and call it a day. The next morning we head to the USS Kidd Veterans Museum, where we will get to tour a retired naval destroyer permanently on display on the banks of the Mississippi River. It's incredible to tour the vessel, and I wondered how my paddling trip would have been different had I been commanding a destroyer rather than a kayak. Having seen everything we came to see, it's time to hit the road. Our next destination is Memphis, 5.5 hours away, where we have a very special invitation of a place to stay. Dale Sanders was kind enough to host my wife and I for the night, which was amazing. I was so proud to show her my name made the Wall of Fame. We decide to stop at the unique Bass Pro Shops at the Pyramid. The place is awesome and does not disappoint with its immersive atmosphere. Our last stop in Memphis is the Mudila Moria, where we get to walk the scale model of the Mississippi River. It's a really cool attraction and fun to see the river from this vantage, remembering all the twists and turns that took hours to paddle. It even ends in its own representation of the Gulf of Mexico, with Memphis in the background.
Alright, so we are leaving Memphis behind. We stayed at Dale Sanders' house again last night. Thank you, Dale. Saved us on a hotel room, which was great, and We had breakfast together this morning, heard all kinds of stories, which is always a good time. So we went to the Bass Pro Shops at the Pyramid. We saw the scale model of the Mississippi River at Mud Island Marina and took some more photos there. So we are now on our way. We decided to skip the arch because it's a pain in the butt to get to it, and we're already got a 6-hour drive in front of us, so there was no need to add another hour to that by going to the arch for 10 seconds. So that's where we're going. We're heading to Hannibal, Missouri. We're gonna do the whole Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn, Mark Twain thing and get to our hotel and enjoy it, and that'll pretty much round out the lower half of the river on the way back. So we are on our way.
We make the 6-hour trip to Hannibal, passing through a lot of open country. After checking in at the hotel, we go to the Mark Twain Dinette and get some lunch before touring the sights of this historic town. I really look forward to returning here as the shoreline was flooded when I paddled by, so I didn't get to stop. After getting our chores done and a good night's sleep, we visit the lighthouse. 244 steps offers you an amazing view of the surrounding area. I thought I would run right up these stairs, but quickly learned that sitting in a kayak for 2 months, my legs were no longer up to the task. Hannibal is a neat small town, and I was glad we stopped. A 4-hour drive to Guttenberg will also bring us to Minnesota's neighbor, Iowa. After driving in the flat and sometimes featureless plains, it is quite thrilling to arrive back in the driftless zone and the towering bluffs along the river valley. We stop and take a break from the road at an overlook, checking out the vastness of the river valley. I get asked about the kayak on top of the truck. For the first time in weeks, I get to tell my story. Guttenberg was another town I wanted to stop in, but ended up passing by. We reserved a room at the Eagle View Motel, which sits high on the bluff, overlooking Pool 10 and the town of Guttenberg. An incredible place to stay, and what a change in perspective.
Oh yeah, so we're here at the what?
Eagles View Motel and Resort.
That's our view. We're just north of Guttenberg, Iowa. Lock and Dam 10 is just down that way. And at long last, I get my steak. I can't wait. Yes. So, anyway, what a way to end the day. going on, everybody? We are leaving Guttenberg. We are heading to La Crosse, Wisconsin. We are going to see John Sullivan, one of the administrators of the Mississippi River Paddlers page. I did not get the opportunity to see him on the way by, so I'm looking forward to meeting him now. Just going to swing by, say hi, and then from there we are off to Trumpeloo, whatever that town I can't pronounce. And we're going to stay at that river on the end again, where we'll have a great view of the trains coming through and the barges, Lockendam 6. So it'll be cool kind of end of the trip, and from there we head home back to Cannon Falls, and the trip will be over. But I get to relive it all, filming and editing as we go. So we are just about to cross the Mississippi River again on the Great River Road. There's the bridge we'll be going over, and we are almost there. So it'll be pretty cool. Another hour and 15 minutes, and we'll be in La Crosse. So we're really making our way back up north, much faster than I went south. But always a great view here on this road. We've been going up and over the bluffs and everything, and it's been a neat trip back. So.
We make it to La Crosse, where John and his wife are kind enough to take us to lunch. We talk about the trip, and they bring us to the Grandads Bluff, where we get another awe-inspiring view of the river valley. At around 400 feet, this is the height I would shoot footage from with the drone. Pretty neat to see it with my own eyes for once. Trumpeloo is not far from La Crosse, and we make it to one of my favorite stops along the river. The inn on the river is right on the banks of the Mississippi and offers a great view of barges, trains, and Lockendam 6. After settling in, we head over to Lock 6 to check out the area. There is all kinds of information on the river and the lock system. It is really neat to learn of the benefits of the barges for the shipping industry. We are incredibly lucky to have a barge come through with one of the coolest loads I saw while I was on the river.
Good, how are you?
Yeah.
This perspective shows just how big the vessels on the river are. Crazy to think that I was paddling amongst them.
So these are wind turbine blades coming by us, and you can see just how big they really are. Huge.
Wow.
scenery on the river. Alright, so we are on the last leg of the journey today. Tonight, I will be back home. So we want to give a special thank you to Teresa of the Inn on the River. She was super kind to me. I was here back on June 27th or so, and we stayed here on our way back home, and she was super excited to see us, and it was great to stay here again and get to see the towboats going up and down the river through the lock, and then the trains, of course. So it's a really cool spot. It's a really cool place. We'll be back at some point, I think, and stay here again. So we're gonna do a stop at Maiden Rock on the way home, it sounds like, which is my wife's family's sacred campground, and then from then on it's just a quick jaunt home, half hour, and we'll be there. I ain't been there for
nearly 50 days.
50 some odd days, so it's going to be cool to go home and wrap the trip up, although I do have a strong desire to put the kayak back in the river and head back down, so better get out of here before that happens. So.
Maiden Rock is located on the northeast side of Lake Pepin. I had taken a video for my wife of the campground from the other side of the lake. Funny, after paddling the entire river, Lake Pepin didn't seem so big anymore. We leave Wisconsin and cross the Mississippi River for the last time and enter Minnesota. Back in the state it all started in, I feel as though I have returned home, as the last few miles of the adventure come to an end. I get the fleet cleaned up from our adventure together, and do a little work on myself. The decision to drive our way back to Minnesota and revisit some of the places I had been was a great decision, and we are so grateful we did. This officially concludes my great escape. It's back to the real world. It truly was the adventure of a lifetime, and for a guy with nearly no experience, taking on a trip of this magnitude was a massive undertaking. I did not know if I would be able to make it all the way, but I did know that I would never let myself live it down if I didn't. I can't wait to see what adventures lie ahead. I truly hope you enjoyed watching my journey and hope to see you again soon.